rock you. We will rock you. It's Breakfast with Bob.
And Poncho Man, everybody. We are brought to you by HOKA, Polar, UCAN, Velofix, Normatec, Active, Canyon Bicycles, Form Goggles, and Pullman. We're at beautiful Four Seasons Resort Hualalai for our 10th anniversary and our championship edition, our 2014 Ironman World Champion, third yesterday. Give it up for the great Sebastian Kienle. That's right. So after watching you go 109 in France at Nice for the 70.3 Worlds and get the second fastest run of the day in front of Alistair Brownlee and Javier Gomez and all these guys who are known as great runners, I'm thinking Sebastian is ready to unleash and go low 240s here. I'm guessing you were thinking the same thing.
Absolutely. I knew I had to do something extraordinary to even have a slight chance of winning the race, and I thought I'm prepared to run low 240.
Yeah.
And starting the marathon, I felt, this is still possible. Like, even the win is still possible. You want to believe it, and
right.
I made myself believe it, and I felt like it is possible. But you know how it is. I mean, this course crushes a lot of dreams, and a lot of people think they are ready to do extraordinary things, and soon it's back to reality. As soon as you turn left after Palani, then you'll see if it's actually true or if you just dreamed it. And I thought I was holding back quite a lot on at the beginning on the lead drive,
right?
And I was just always checked heart rate and everything, and I knew I am just absolutely where I want to be. And I thought the next 20 Ks, that's your show, and it wasn't.
Well, I think you said in our last interview, you're either fit here or you're effed. And so while you're out there and you are thinking about, I'm going to win this thing, and I want to run my way up second and first. So there's a point where your crew is telling you the difference between you and second place, and then they start switching from where you're at to the guy in fourth place, to Ben Hoffman.
Exactly.
And that's
so
sort of a message.
Absolutely. At the beginning, I still got just splits to Jan.
Yes.
Because I think my crew thought I definitely gonna catch TO. Everybody knew like on what level I'm at with the running.
Yes.
And that I was definitely not overdoing it on the bike. Mainly also thanks to Cam Worth, who did pretty much all the work in front. And but then at one point I just got splits to TO, and then I got splits to Ben Hoffman, and I knew as soon this happened. And I know Ben very well, and he's just getting warmed up after 7 hours into the race. So I knew this is gonna be a really, really hard day. And I was struggling quite a lot with my hip flexor on the slide downhill section.
Yeah.
So it was just very difficult to catch up some speed again. And Ben really made me suffer and made me earn those 4 days here in the Four Seasons.
You also said that, while you're racing, you have to hate the other guys. But after the race, and they push you to a certain level that maybe you didn't know you can get to, you have to love them, because it is racing. And you want to have the best race you can, and you can't do that unless the other guys are having the best race they can.
That's correct, with one exemption, and that's Jan. Because afterwards, last night, of course, it's always difficult to fall asleep, and then you start to think like, okay, am I happy with this race? What can I take out of the race? What's the conclusion for next year, and so on and so on. I mean, stuff you should just start thinking about in 2 weeks, but you can't. No, you could just,
it's now.
Can't. Yeah.
It's still too fresh.
And then you realize that Jan was just on another planet, you know.
Yes.
I mean, sub 8 in these conditions would have been the win like pretty much every year. I think, look at Ben Hoffman. With this split, I think you would have always won the Ironman Hawaii,
Yes.
like in pretty much every year. And now he's ending up 4th place. I mean, that just shows you the progression just in the last 4 or 5 years. And so therefore, definitely left me scratching my head how I'm able to find like 10 minutes to Jan. It's going to be very difficult.
Well, when Jan was here earlier, he was just saying there's those days when you just have it, where your legs, and could you tell that early on with him?
I knew that like 130k into the bike, we had like 1 minute 50 left to the group, and he already gapped TO and Alistair.
Yeah.
And then we just had 40 seconds to Alistair, so we caught up to Alistair, and I thought like, oh, that must be like a minute or minute 10 to Jan now. And then we exited transition to the run, and it was back to 4:30, and I knew.
Where did
I
that
mean,
come from?
we didn't like stop at the gas station or something like that, and so therefore, I knew if he is gonna put in an effort like that on the last 30k on the bike, he must feel really, really good, because Jan is just making a move like that if he knows he can actually hold that up. And so I knew it's gonna be very, very difficult, but you never know what happens, and therefore when I started to run, I knew I have still something left, and so I still believe that there is a slight chance, but yeah, pretty soon I knew it's not gonna happen.
So knowing that you don't have to go and win an Ironman, knowing that you can validate by just going to one, you're not the type of guy who goes to a race and isn't there to win, right?
Yeah.
Is that hard for you to go to a race where, or does that put you in a position where rather than trying to find a race that the field's not deep where you can win it, you can go race wherever you want and know the competition will be great and it doesn't really matter if I win or not?
First of all, that's one of the things after the race where you realize, oh, that was actually a very, very important third place for a lot of reasons, but that's probably the biggest reason is it got more and more difficult to even qualify.
Yes.
And it's a very high risk, because if something goes wrong and you have to be like first, second or third in a really strong race, it makes it like really tough. If something goes wrong, you have to take a much higher risk with your racing schedule.
Yeah.
And so now I put myself on the list for Ironman Cozumel, and we'll see how I recover and everything, but I would love to get it out of the way.
Yes.
So that I have like the freedom of choice. Of course, a lot of people around you always think they know something better, and so I know a lot of people would love to see me race less and focus more on a race like this, but then on the other hand, you look at Cam, and he's improving, and he's doing like triple the amount of Ironmans I do
He did
per
8
year.
last year,
I
yeah.
mean, that's just insane. So I would always say it's always true till somebody proves it's the opposite of what you think is true. So therefore, before I won Frankfurt and Kona in 1 year, everybody told me that's not possible. Like, you should not be as fit for Frankfurt that you can win the race, because then you can't be fit enough for Kona. But it proved that it's just not true. After that, like, Jan won both in 1 year, and also Patrick had the same schedule and then won here. So I think I love to race, so therefore I would probably do another long course race next year before Kona.
So since you are Lionel Sanders' coach, have you already talked to him to tell him about...
I stopped coaching him.
Yeah, you stopped coaching him.
Yeah, he's uncoachable, sorry. No, I mean, the thing is, he knows everything that he needs to know. It's all on the table.
Right.
It just needs to get the puzzle together. And that's the thing I just told him, you know. I mean, and of course, I really love his style of racing, his attitude, everything. And of course, I don't like that he's beating me every now and then. But still, yeah. I mean, it was really, it was really sad that he, when he was injured, like the whole year, you know, I was kind of like felt really sorry that he wasn't at the races I was, and I had a lot of great battles with him, and I think, you know, I think he was fit enough to even be on the podium, but that's also the thing. The mental struggles you have if your preparation wasn't 100% perfect, and you have to experience that once. You know, look at Theo. His preparation was for sure not perfect, but it was the opposite for him. He took a lot of freshness into into Kona, and he was mentally fresh and everything. And for Lionel, it was probably the opposite. He thought, "Oh, I'm not as good prepared as I was like in the last 4 years, and I wasn't winning back then. So how do I have a chance this year?" And that's very difficult to get into that mindset, and I know this very well. But that's one good factor, being injured or struggling with the Achilles problems in the last 4 years, that I know that I, even with unperfect preparation, that I'm still able to do a very great result here, and that gives you a lot of confidence even if something goes wrong.
And as somebody who has always known he's a better runner than he's been able to show because of the Achilles issues that you've dealt with, to run as well as you did in Nice. And I know you're not happy with a 2:49, but 2:49 on a really tough day, and the fact that you're running injury-free has to make you feel, okay, next year it could be great. It's nice to be running the way I feel I can run.
Absolutely. I mean, just the most important thing is triathlon was fun again this year.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's for me really the most important thing that I had. That the whole preparation, I loved every day of it. You know, it was great, and so therefore, I'm looking forward to next year. I'm already looking forward to the whole work in the winter, and also I'm really happy with my new coach, with Philip, and yeah, I think he's also like really, really motivated. After yesterday, I saw him like his head is already like completely, and you know, so I think our whole crew is just very motivated for next year. So am I, especially because it seems like I'm probably finally over it. I thought that a couple of times, so I still need to every day do something for it, and but yeah, I think that's really the right mindset to go into next year. No, okay, I'm not there, but I can work for it.
You're
and
close. You don't have to spend your whole time doing therapy.
Exactly.
That is the worst. How about a round of applause for the great Sebastian Kienle as we wrap up Championship Edition of Breakfast with Bob. Want to thank all of our sponsors, all of our fans. It's been wonderful, and especially John Geffram, Poncho Man, Heidi Jansen. Gee. Thank you, everybody.
It's Aloha Sunday here at Four Seasons. Woo! Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And it's Breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man.